I've been asked to share my story, and I've been asked to share my story for a long time. And I just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And I guess it's just time to do it. Just freaking do it. And so I'm not really sure what it is that I am supposed to be telling you. I know that it has to do with my story and how I was able to let go of the 3D life and move on to the 4D, 5D life. And that's the life out of the Matrix. And I get to see sunrises in the morning at the beach, and I get to see these beautiful sunsets here at the park. So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to share. I would love to hear your requests on what it is that you think you would want to know. How did I get here? But I'll start with the simple story that as I was working in corporate America, I kept getting the messages that I was a slave. Like, this is slavery. This is slavery. I can't go do what I want to do, and I only have a certain amount of time that I am allowed to spend free. Like all this really weird stuff. So I was just like, something's wrong here. Something's really wrong. But something really important too that kept happening to me was messages kept getting delivered constantly about about leaving my job, about stop doing what you're doing, you can do something else. And at that time I was not, or did not have, the awareness that I have now of that I create my reality in such a strong way. So I was not believing in myself. I was not believing in the fact that I can create any reality that I want. And so at that time, my guides through someone else sent me a message that I needed to go part-time. And I was in that corporate job, and I'm like, how am I going to go part-time? That doesn't exist. So I heard you, if you believe, because first you have to believe, right? No doubt. So then I was like, okay, screw it. I'm going to go part-time. And I knew I had enough savings that I could cover if I needed to. So what I decided to do was jump the cliff. And I decided at that time that, do I want to have money in my 401k, or do I want to experience happiness? And I knew that if I could get myself to a place of freedom, that being in that vibration would then bring me things that would get me to the next level. So there had to be a lot of trust and no doubt. And that's what I did. I asked for part-time, and part-time was approved. And a little bit later on is when COVID started happening, and that's when I just I knew they were gonna let us go because it was at Disney. And so I kind of just said to my boss, hey, if you're gonna cut people, why don't you cut me first? Because I already knew that I had to go. And within 2 weeks I get a call, and they tell me, like, that's it, you're done in 2 weeks, we're starting to cut people. And so I remember driving home from my from this decision, from this being told, and I'm like freaking out, my heart, I'm having a panic attack. And I remember saying to myself, oh my God, how fast, what happened? I didn't expect this. And really loud, like somebody screamed at me, we need you now. And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, okay, I get it. I trust, and I stayed in trust. And at the end of the day, here in the US, if you take money out of your 401k, which is your retirement, you get taxed and you get a penalty. And it came to a point where I was just like, okay, I need to decide if paying extra tax and a penalty is worth my happiness and my freedom. And I made a decision that my happiness comes before paper. which is money. Money's paper, and we're the ones who give it value. And I'm like, what if I died tomorrow? Like, what was the point? And at the end of the day, now I live my life with the thought of, I could die tomorrow. What am I doing? Like, am I taking advantage of this day the best that I can? So I'm going to leave you guys with that thought. And that is, if you do have the resources in the bank, is fear keeping you in a space of being okay with being comfortable? And if you died tomorrow, was that the right choice? Was that the right thing to do? So it's about putting it in the balance and saying, like, okay, happiness or money, right? And I chose happiness, and that's why I've manifested the life of my dreams, because I put myself first, and I decided this is so important to me that I'm gonna make the jump. And I did. I made the jump, and I never looked back, and I've had the happiest life ever. And so I don't know, I'm just sharing my story. I was told to share my story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So here it is. And I'll continue to do videos, hopefully, to help you get to where you need to be. And again, let me know in the comments, like, how is this, what thoughts are coming to your mind when you hear my story, and what else do you want to know? Like, like, what decisions did I make, or whatever. Like, what else do you want to know about getting to the place where you want to get to? What are your fears that are holding you back? And maybe I can help you. All right? I love you, soul sisters and brothers.